Hi, it's Dr. Steve Rossman, and today I want to answer a question that I've been asked quite often recently, and maybe a question you've been asking yourself. And that is, Doc, is there a connection between these gut issues that I've had for a year, 2 years, maybe longer than that, and my anxiety, my depression, my OCD, my behavioral issues, ADD, ADHD, whatever that may be? And truth is, there's a strong connection for some people between the gut and the brain. And that's what I want to share with you today. And I want to talk about 3 reasons that might be the case. But first, let's just get this out of the way. For many, the way your brain health has been treated is from the neck up. But in truth, many of the issues, the underlying root causes which we in functional medicine look for, are from the neck down. So if you went to someone who practiced functional medicine for a workup, you might have things looked at, tested, like thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones, sugar imbalance, sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, progesterone, sleep hormones in your sleep, certain vitamin mineral deficiencies, because there are many things that contribute to anxiety, depression, mood disorders, behavioral disorders. But today I want to talk to you very briefly about some other things that contribute and have to do with the gut. So if you've been diagnosed with irritable bowel disease, if you've been diagnosed with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if you have bloating and indigestion, if you have inflammatory bowel disease, colitis, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, and more, there's a good chance that that is contributing to this. Let's talk about how inflammation may be involved. Inflammation may be involved because inflammation actually degrades brain messenger molecules called neurotransmitters. So you know that certain medications like Lexapro, Celexa actually work with certain brain messenger molecules like serotonin, for instance. In some cases, Xanax works with GABA, and other medications. Effexor can work with both dopamine and serotonin. But we know that inflammation actually degrades these chemicals, so there's less available. We also know, just take serotonin as an example, that some of those inflammatory chemicals that start in the gut and move up to the brain will stop serotonin from being produced. So you have tryptophan here, which is the raw material from which serotonin is made. And you have serotonin here. And it should go boom, 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 serotonin. Your body is happy, mood, behavior improve. But if there's inflammation translocated from the gut to the brain, through the blood-brain barrier, gut-brain axis, if there's inflammation in the brain, then instead of making serotonin, what might happen is that the tryptophan goes to one chemical called kynurenate and another one called quinolinate. So inflammation can disrupt. In fact, a recent article published in BMC Medicine 2013 was entitled, and I'm going to read this to you so I get it right. So depression is an inflammatory disease, but where does the inflammation come from? And then in the long list the researchers discuss about where inflammation comes from, they discuss the gut. And we also know that many of the inflammatory markers that we find in other inflammatory conditions, it could be arthritis, it could be certain kinds of heart disease, when those inflammatory blood markers are raised, we also find them in people who are diagnosed with depression. So inflammation is one possibility, and a reason why the gut influences the brain. A second is simply something called the microbiome. And the microbiome is that collection of trillion bacteria and microbes that inhabit the gut, that do many good things. When there is an imbalance, bad bacteria can actually translocate, leave the gut, make it through the body to the brain, where they cause inflammation, and we know what inflammation can do to the brain. Also, not enough of certain bacteria can actually cause problems with the production and the health of those messenger molecules in the brain. For instance, one bacterium called Lactobacillus rhamnosus contributes to the production of GABA in the brain. Think of GABA as your brain's natural Xanax. Another bacterium called Bifidobacterium infantis, we know helps calm the brain when there is stress. So we know also that in mice studies, for instance, that those mice who have a certain calm demeanor, who are given bacteria from mice who have a more aggressive demeanor, often become more aggressive. And those mice that are more aggressive, that are given bacteria from a calmer species of mice bred to be calmer, develop those calmer tendencies. So the microbiome, all those bacteria, they're important too. And finally, let's talk about food. If you're sensitive to certain food, if food causes irritation in the gut, there's inflammation. And again, we know what inflammation can cause. But sometimes if food isn't broken down properly, because you simply you're born and you lack the enzymes to do so, that food can get into the bloodstream and can bind to receptors in the brain, opiate-like receptors. And imagine if you were given opiate pills to take, what that would do to your mood and your behavior. So certain foods, if you're sensitive to certain foods, if certain foods actually cause allergies or delayed hypersensitivity reactions, you can wind up with changes in mood and behavior. So what is it I recommend? I recommend that you look in and check for further videos and for blogs about this. But to stop inflammation, to increase the microbiome, and to prevent the issues related to food, first of all, check and see if there are foods to which you are sensitive. Make notes about those foods, avoid them. Second, decrease sugar. Sugar disrupts the microbiome. It also increases inflammation. Get proper sleep. Proper sleep increases the balance of the microbiome. It also decreases inflammation. If you are sedentary or you're a smoker, stop. Start moving and stop smoking. That increases inflammation. It increases the chance of malabsorption of nutrients. It increases the imbalance between good bacteria, bad bacteria. So if you just do those few things, and we will discuss in future videos and blogs, as I said, more. If you just begin there, you'll begin to get a handle on helping your gut actually calm your brain or create a healthier brain. So I hope for many of you who've had this question, this has been a beginning to an answer. I've spoken quickly because literally this research is blowing up. There's so much. The simple answer to your question, can your gut influence your brain? Should you do something about your gut if you have issues related to brain health, mood, behavioral disorders? The answer is simply yes. So this is Dr. Steve Rossman of Rossman Whole Person Healthcare and yourbrainhealthdoctor.com. I want you to live an optimal, thriving, happy, healthy life. And hopefully today you got some ideas and you're ready to move ahead. Have a great rest of your day.